Good afternoon, I'm Sean Yao, and this is One News Now. Business groups led by the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry are gathered today to discuss proposals for the Marcos administration. To tell us more, we have Shyla Francisco joining us over the phone from Manila. Shyla, hi. What does the business sector want to hear from the Marcos government?
Dito during the inaugural speech of President Marcos, he mentioned key priority sectors including agriculture, education, health, infrastructure, climate change, and energy. And for the business sector, this is a sign that President Marcos is moving towards the right direction. What they do want, however, now, and what investors are waiting for are the specifics. Particularly, they want the key cabinet secretaries to publicize the deliverables and timeline for the plans for each of the departments. For President Marcos, they are hoping that he will tackle during the State of the Nation address plans for job creation, investments, ease of doing business, and digitalization. As far as the education sector is concerned, which is now preparing for the full resumption of face-to-face classes, they want the President to appoint or designate a health secretary to prepare or lead out the groundwork for the preparation for the resumption of face-to-face classes. Sean?
All right, and what is the economic outlook of the private sector currently?
Specifically for the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, they're estimating that growth for the second half or within the second half of the year to be at 6 to 6.5% on the back of a recovery of the tourism and consumption, the improving labor market, and generally with more sectors opening up. They even said that 8% within the second half is attainable if the country resumes the face-to-face classes. Although they warned of several risks, which include peso depreciation, higher fuel surcharge, inflation, and the power supply, but they are optimistic and they're confident that the economic team will lay down the specific policies to help address these concerns. Sean?
Right, and what are the business sector's thoughts about the current peso to dollar exchange rate?
Apart from the exports and the OFWC to benefit from the high exchange rate, they say overall it is a threat to the country since we're import dependent. They are hoping that they can see low 50s by the first quarter of the year, and they hope that central bank can assist in terms of addressing inflation because, as we know, low or high inflation can depreciate the peso even further. Sean?
All right, and what about this proposal on additional taxes?
For the business sector, it would be more acceptable if the government will collect proper taxes and additional taxes can be burdensome to specific sectors, specifically for the MSMEs. They understand that we have to address the growing debt, but it is far more better to grow the economy to address these concerns. Sean?
All right, thank you so much. Shyla Francisco reporting to us over the phone from Manila. Thank you, Shyla. And in other news, POW Chief Persida Acosta is opposing the call to reconsider the use of Dengvaxia amid the rise in dengue cases. In an interview with Radio 5, Acosta explained that Dengvaxia certificate of product registration in the Philippines has been permanently revoked. Acosta has been insisting that a number of children suffered complications and even died from receiving Dengvaxia shots. However, there is still no solid evidence linking Dengvaxia to these incidents. Infectious diseases expert Dr. Ronjean Solante earlier suggested re-evaluating the use of Dengvaxia vaccines to address the rise in dengue cases.
Alam mo, parang hindi naman updated si Dr. Solante kung ano nangyari sa Dengvaxia mass vaccination indiscriminate dito sa Pilipinas na walang screening na ginawa. Dapat updated siya kung ano nangyayari sa health condition ng ating bansa.
We're gonna pause for a quick break, but we will be back with more stories after that. Stay with us here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. A group of private schools is not in agreement on the move of the government to resume face-to-face classes by November. The Coordinating Council of Private Educational Associations, or COCOPEA, told Radio 5 that private schools can no longer hold week-long in-person classes. COCOPEA says schools have already prepared to conduct hybrid classes this year. The group said there are still concerns on possible COVID-19 transmission among students, as well as the lack of available public transportation.
So ultimately, ang sinasabi namin is we're appealing on behalf also of the parents na bigyan sila ng choice. No? Patuloy nating i-offer yung online and hybrid, pero susunod po tayo dun sa face-to-face. Yung mga gustong mag-face-to-face, paghahandaan din po natin yan. Meron dapat option for them.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. The Presidential Security Group is now preparing for President Bongbong Marcos's first State of the Nation address on July 25. The PSG, along with other security agencies, will be doing a series of ocular inspections and walkthroughs until the day of the sauna. The Education Department has tapped the NBI to look into the alleged abuses over at the Philippine High School for the Arts. The DepEd says they are currently reviewing the school's policies after reports surfaced claiming abuse endured by students at the hands of faculty and staff. Japan's longest-serving Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has been laid to rest. Abe's funeral took place in Sojoji Temple in central Tokyo. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.